All right, guys, welcome to the weekly upside session. Today, Soham and I are both going to do this together. We happen to be in the same location. We will start in, as is customary, maybe in 1 minute or so. We have people streaming in. We're going to try this a little differently this time around. Okay, so actually, maybe we get started. Okay, second, let me just. All right, guys, I think we should start. Welcome to every Gopal. I see you raise your hand. We will take. There's going to be a lot of time for questions. Welcome to Upsides. We had session 5 today. Soham and I are both going to be doing this for those of you who are online and some of the streaming services. Welcome to all of you. Today's session is an interesting one, and we're going to do it in a slightly different way. So the session is about how do you run a job search or a job hunt in the age of generative AI. And since both of us are a little unwell, as you can see with the coughing, what we thought we'd try and do is we thought we'd try and create a doc, right, which has the outline of all our thinking on this topic. So what we're going to do is we're going to share the doc. Okay, I'm going to paste it here on chat. You should all have access to it. And I am also going to share the doc on my screen. So here's the doc on, share the link. We are editing the doc live as we speak. So you will see us adding a few more thoughts. Here's what we're going to do today. So let me actually share. So I'm editing the doc as we speak. I'm going to share it on my screen. So here is the doc, right? Now, read it, right? To be fair, this is Soham's idea of an experiment. It's a bit new for me, but I think it's a good idea. So we will spend time, maybe 5 minutes, reading the doc, right? Now, post that, we will take questions, okay? But we could do this in 2 ways. So what we suggest is, wherever you have a question, right, add a comment, right? Add a comment. If we can read the questions as we move along. But what is much more fun is if you kind of raise your hand and ask the question later. Everybody benefits from hearing you ask the question, and then we'll get into a discussion. We'll answer it. Soham will give his point of view. I'll give my point of view, and then we'll take it from there. Okay. So we will it's now 7:05 PST. We will take 5 minutes. Everybody read the doc, comment on your questions in the doc, or keep a list of the questions that you want to ask, and then we'll start going with questions, right, in the next 5 minutes. We posted it online.
Operation should have posted it.
And guys, folks of you who are on LinkedIn and on YouTube, we should have posted the link to the doc in the comments where this is streaming live, right? So you should be able to also access the docs. Okay. Right. We go on mute. 5 minutes, 7:10 PST. Start taking questions. We go from there. All right, guys, for those of you who have just joined, you'll notice that the session is quiet, and that is because we are doing this in a different way. We have created a doc, which I'm posting again on chat. For those of you who just joined, you would have just gotten it. Both Soham and I have slight sore throats, and so we are posting our thoughts on a doc. Please go through it. We'll take about 5-10 minutes while people are going through it. We are editing the doc as well, and just feel free to leave your comments here as questions. Send questions in the Q&A section, and we will take questions obviously verbally in a few minutes. Okay, we had said 7:10. It's almost 7:10. We'll maybe give another 5 minutes because I think a bunch of people joined late. And so it's also a longish 2-3 page doc. So feel free to scan it and then we'll take questions. Okay. Let me post this again for the new people who've joined. All right, guys, we are going to start. For those of you who just joined or joined recently, you are probably wondering why everything is so silent. And that is because we're trying a slightly unique experiment on today. So we were not on mute, Jagdish. We actually had gone on silent. We have shared a doc, and I will share that again because some of you might have just joined, so you wouldn't have seen this. It's in chat that has all the thinking that we were going to chat about in today's session. Given that our throats are a little out, we've created a doc. So read it, and we are going to take now Q&A. So you should be able to now raise your hands if you want to ask a question, and we can take it verbally. Otherwise, we will start reading some of the questions in chat. Gopal, I see you raise your hand. We will come to you one by one. Just give us a second. And I think a couple of you have asked if you can get a copy of the doc. The doc's an open doc, right? So if you have the link, you can just add it to your drive. And if you don't have a drive, then just copy everything and paste it, right, in whatever format you want. All right. Okay, cool. Let's start going down. I think we have about 4 or 5 questions. We can start with those. And then as we get more questions, we'll keep adding. Okay. Okay, so first question is from Eric. Says, the first question up. So I'm an anonymous user. The question is, and you should be able to see it on the screen. Says, what are the best LLM projects to attempt? So you want to take a stab at it? It's a generic question.
See, the best projects are the ones that help you learn. So look at OpenAI help docs, look at Microsoft's semantic kernel, look at the Amazon SageMaker, right? And look at Hugging Face. Those are the best place. Like wherever the models have come about, they all have help docs, right? And help docs have toy projects in them. Those are the best ones to get started with. Once you get that confidence, then you can use it in your own applications. Like very simple applications, start with simple applications and then use them from there. But if you've never done this, by far the best place to start is the help docs of these models.
Okay, maybe let me ask you a question linked to this, which is for, let me click this so we answer this question. So there is LLM projects, but if somebody wants to, let's say, get some sort of AI experience, not necessarily on the LM side, but wants to understand how to use LLMs or do some projects to kind of get comfortable, are there any things that they can do within their company? Can they go to folks, take on projects? How do they get some ML experience within their org?
Talk to product managers within your org, and whatever ideas come up with, you'll use them with LLMs. So then look at the LLM help and do that part. So if you don't have ideas on what to do, talk to the product managers or people on the business side on what can happen in the companies.
Okay. I think one important thing, guys, here is that you don't necessarily need to go outside, right? To try and, we get this question a lot, which is how can I get some hands-on experience if I don't have that background? Do I need to go outside? Do I need to look at external resources? Sure. I mean, like we, for example, have a course on becoming a machine learning engineer, and where we do a lot of projects. We also have courses that enable you to learn how to work with LLMs if you don't want to become a MLE or a data scientist. But you don't have to go outside. You can get some of this internally as well, right? So just reach out to PMs. Okay. You says, Yuli, what is a good tool for cover letter generation and how does it work? I think we have some tools in here, Yuli. So
yeah, and really some of the resume tools also do cover letter generation. Again, cover letter is important. Now it is not super important. It is more important than the last 10 years. It's just one more thing to stand out. So But the one that we have pasted does it, and some of the resume tools also do cover letter generation.
Yeah, I think in general, guys, you can, if you just run a search, there are a lot of these tools that are coming up on a constant basis, right? So there are every couple of weeks, you'll find interesting tools. If you go to, obviously Twitter is where you have a lot of this stuff, but if you go to Product Hunt, right, and you follow stuff on Product Hunt, there you see a lot of interesting tools coming up as well. Okay. Okay, I think Gopal had raised his hand. Let me take his question. Gopal, can you unmute? Yeah, we'll go in order.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, Gopal?
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Sir, like the thing now, today's market, like AI generation and ML has been taken into existence. And what is the scenario, sir? What is the procedure? Like there are various technology techniques, and my like the thing is, like will it be again? Because my age is nearly 42, and age is one of the criteria. And there are many hypothetical questions which I'm facing in day-to-day life, and how to overcome that. For example, during traveling, many accidents are occurring, and many unavoidable situations are occurring and taking place, and how to convey this information. See, each they convey, each person is different from each other, and how to understand that, because when we convey that, they misinterpret, or I misinterpret them. So how to make a suitable conversation so that it should not affect the whole management. For example, if you take your management, total quality management or principles of management, Maslow's theories and Dummy's theories, if it's violating one of the conditions, then what will be the scenario context of how to overcome the limitation of that?
Gopal, sorry, can you there's a lot that you have just conveyed. I'm sorry, I don't quite get your specific question, right? So
Okay.
just give me a specific question that you would like us to answer, please.
How to survive for a particular technology, sir? I know like the artificial intelligence and machine learning are taking into existence. How to survive in a particular technology? Yeah, the question was the hands-on experience was one of the criteria. We don't have hands-on experience for particular technology, and how to do that, and what will be the procedure and methodology to adopt it?
Okay, understood. Got it. So let me take a stab at this, right? So I think there are so AI is definitely like we've talked about, and like you mentioned, right? It is something that is happening. This is like AI's iPhone moment, right? So it's never going back. The world as we know it is never going back. I assume your primary question is how do you let's say survive this technology wave, and maybe we can make this to a more generic question. Essentially, you have two ways, right? You have to learn and you have to get project experience. So just look for those opportunities, right? Look for opportunities to learn internally within the company, try and do projects. If you feel that you're not able to learn, then look for courses, right? Look for courses, and there are multiple platforms of courses. Like there are, sorry, 1 second. There are video courses on Coursera, Udemy, Udacity. There's a lot of learning on YouTube. If you want live courses, you have courses like Interview Kickstart. So I think courses are a good bet to start. And on the AI side, I think one thing that's important is that this is new for everybody, right? So the gap between a novice and an expert is probably amongst the lowest that it'll ever be. So if you feel that this is a lot, try and look for courses or internal projects, right? Those are your best bets. Okay, let's continue with the question. So Eric has said, hey, is using AI for resumes frowned upon by some hiring managers? Something I've heard, a rumor. Your point of view in this one?
Yes, there are some people who will not like it, but they don't have a choice. Right? There are 50% of applicants today use AI in some or the other form. That's just like 6 months, right, of Gen AI coming in. And you look at 3, 5, 7, 10, 20, 30, 40 years out, right, you're going to have this application process completely dominated by AI anyway. So we are in a transition phase. There are some people who are going to be in denial, some people who are not going to welcome it very well, some people are going to be doubting it. like the GPS. Some people didn't like it for whatever reason. And yeah, that's going to happen. But I think you have to understand where they're coming from. You have to realize that it's a transient phase in their own lives as well, and go ahead and just use it. Now, it also matters how you use it. You have to be very precise in your prompting. You have to be sophisticated in your prompting. You have to, you can't lie or any of that on the resume. You can't like exaggerate massively on the resume. So obviously within those boundaries, like it's a productivity tool, so that you don't have to think of using the right words for the right situation. And that's the use for it. You can't fabricate resumes. You can't just have the transformer hallucinate. Right? And obviously those things will be frowned upon, but assuming that's not what you're referring to, just go ahead and just use it. Just use it wisely. Do a detailed prompting, and as models go better, your prompting will also need to be less detailed for it. So this job search is going to be different from job search in 2 years. For example, when GPT-5 will be sort of less prompting is going to be required in these tools. So, but use wisely, and don't worry about, don't get distracted that some hiring managers don't like it. Right? They will come out of it.
And Eric, you can use this as a support tool, in the sense you can use GPT, if that's what you're referring to, or any of these, as a good starting point, right? One of the ways to use this is to use this as like a partner. So you use it as a starting point, and then you work with it, right? Like, so I'm saying, you use prompts, you work with it, you iterate based on what you're getting. So it doesn't have to be one or the other, right? I think some of the best use cases that are coming out, and not just in resumes, in leveraging GPT in general, is where you work with it, right? It's like you're pairing with somebody. You start. It's usually a very good way to get off, like the white page. Start, you iterate, you give it back, you iterate, right? So you can work with it, right, rather than just having it as one-off. But like in all areas now, you just have to be open to the fact that GPT is a great tool and people will use it. Okay, Azlan, let me take this.
Good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Azlan says, it seems online applications have lower success rate than referrals. What should be the time breakdown between online applications and referrals? Should we go for 50-50 or focus more on referrals?
Yeah, then whatever the market, we are in a bear market at the moment in terms of jobs, not in the terms of actual stock market. In terms of jobs, we bear market. We had a bull market last 10 years. Whatever the market, referrals always have a higher success rate than online applications. In an ideal world, you'd only get your jobs with referrals. And that way you'll get best jobs, that will get jobs within your network, people who you like to work with, people like you. Right? So ideal world, again, you would spend 100% of your time networking and referrals, whether you're in the job or outside the job. That's by far the best way of doing this. Obviously, the world is not ideal. So when you find yourself in a situation where you have exhausted your referrals, right, or you have taken at least like one pass at it, go online. Right? After that, once you're done with the first online pass, come back to referrals. Like dig your second level, third level connections. Be an imposter. I know it's a heretic thing to say in this world, to say, hey, be an imposter, but I think that's how engineers will understand it. Engineers are very, very worried about asking for help. They feel like it's like end of the world when you ask for help, but no, just walk up to people and ask for help. Right? You have second connections, third connections, right? Just on LinkedIn and elsewhere. Go back to referrals, right? You exhaust that, you go to the next. Like one crude way of doing that, we go to first connections, right? They go to online applications, second connections, online applications, third connections, online applications, like that. For it. But and then once you get a job, right, spend a lot of time networking, right, so that your next one, right, comes out of your first or second connections, right, straight up. So hope it helps.
Adnan, a couple of just quick things for me to add. I think, see, sometimes it also depends on how much time you have, right? If you need a job in a very short period of time, then you have to have a different strategy. If you need a job, if you have 6 months, right, then you have a different strategy. I think the other thing that I just want to add, so I'm already mentioned it, but I just want to double down on it, is that most people tend to make the mistake of mining referrals or staying in touch with referrals, people who can refer, etc., only at the time of the job search, right? Actually, the best strategy is to do all of this when you're not looking, right? You find a way to stay in touch, to network, to connect, so that when you are actually looking, it's much easier, right? You have to give serendipity a chance. And so the more you network when you are not looking, the easier it becomes when you are actually looking out, right? All right, guys, I think we are done with questions. If anybody else has a question, please feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, there are a couple of quick things I want to just add before we wrap up. Okay, so while we are waiting, if anybody has any more questions, I think one important thing that I wanted to just highlight for all of you is that, see, there is a very interesting play that's playing out right now, right? Which is obviously AI. While there are a lot of things that can augment your job search through tools and other such things, right? The core of a job search remain exactly the same. They don't change based on just the fact that there's this new thing out there which is very interesting. So a lot of the core principles remain the same, right? You obviously can leverage tools to get help, and like in any market, you find areas where there is a lot of hiring. Clearly the area where there is a lot of hiring right now is AI. And so if you are thinking about looking for roles, then two things to do, right? Either take the time to switch, learn how to become a machine learning engineer, how to become a data scientist, things like that. You could look up IK, you could look up any other courses as well. There are many platforms that you should explore. And the second thing is, if you don't want to make a switch, right, but you want to stay in your own domain, it is important to get AI enabled, right? Which means it's important for you to understand how to leverage what is coming out of the LLMs. Every product in every company is going to be affected by generative AI, whether it's now or whether it's in the next 6 months, right? And so the folks who are better prepared, like the prepared mind, are the people who are going to benefit from this very significantly. With that, guys, let's wrap up today's session. It was a different kind of session. We are still experimenting on various session modes. If you found this interesting and you have any comments, please email me. My email is Ryan, RYAN, @interviewkickstart.com. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful rest of the evening. Cheers, guys. Good night.